Oh, I love Chico sticks. I haven't had a Chico stick in years.
Oh my God.
I'm talking about the candy.
My. Okay.
Somebody, give him some milk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sis.
They're miniatures.
Praise the mighty Yah. Welcome back to the house of Yahudah. I am Minister Yisrael, and it is an honor and a privilege to come and praise the Almighty. It's beautiful here. Got my sister here. Got my daughter. And my beautiful, beautiful white cousin. She is awesome. And but it's a blessing to be back. Praise the mighty Yah. So before we go any further, we're going to read out of the book of Isaiah chapter 40. So let's turn to Isaiah 40 and let us read the 31st verse in Isaiah chapter 40. In the book of Isaiah chapter 40, I will read the 31st verse. But they that wait upon Yah shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. And they shall walk and not faint. Praise the mighty Yah. Wait upon Yah. And you will have the energy, the endurance needed in order to make it through this walk we call living life. It is a struggle. It can be a struggle. But when you rest your burdens on Yah, it makes the walk up the hill a little bit lighter. Sometimes the jagged edges, the rocks, the foot slipping happens. And as I spoke on earlier, I talked about agitators. Sometimes when your foot slips, a person who understands to keep going knows that, okay, my foot slipped here. So that means I need to reposition my foot. So let me reposition. Here we go. Now I have I have a better grasp on my footing now. Now I can walk further. Now I can walk up the hill. I bumped into a rock. It's okay. That'll heal. Or man, oh, dang, I just hit my head on this. Or wow. And then when you get to the top of the hill, you're going to have cuts, bruises. Your shoes might be scuffed up. But the one thing you're going to gain from that is character. Because you didn't give up. Trusting in Yah is a character builder. So praise Yah. All right, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to do praise. Hallelujah. Shalom, Elder Yoli. I'm going to read a beautiful poem that y'all blessed me to write. And then we're going to do our congregation song. Praise Yah. Praise Yah. The heavens cannot contain the power of your will. The clouds are the dust of your steps through your heavens. The rising of your sun brings forth your mercy. The rising of your sun brings forth your mercy to give hope to those who are blessed to see it shine. Praise Yah. Right. So now let's go into our congregational song. I'll set the tempo. So we'll work on this so that I won't need this paper anymore and be able to sing it without, So praise Yah. You are holy. You are holy. You are holy, Yah. You are holy. You are holy. You are holy, Yah. Glory be to your holy name. Glory be to your holy name. You are holy. You are righteous. Glory be to your holy name. You are holy. You are righteous. Glory be to your holy name. Hallelujah. 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 Praise your name. And we'll do it one more time. Hallelujah. 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 Praise your name. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. All right. Now, there any praise reports, reflections? I love reflections.
So, where do I start?
From the beginning.
Go ahead.
In the beginning, the light was pulled from darkness.
Let me just start from the beginning. Well, all right. So, this week, someday previous to now, I had a situation where it was the best advice that I don't drive my car to work. Mm. So I walked. And then on my job, I spend the entire time there on my feet. I don't really take breaks. If I do take a break, I'm not sitting down to take my break. Mm-hmm. And so I worked that day, and then I walked back home. And on my way back home, I cried a bit. Then I realized, looking around, the way YAH processes things and puts things in place, I don't have to understand it. I don't have to like it. But if I take my time and stop, appreciate it, I can see the beauty in it. On that walk home, I got to see 2 deer in a field far off. Mm-hmm. I got to look at flowers that were growing up in what appeared to be weeds. I got to look at Yahweh's creation. I would not necessarily have been able to experience that if I had driven to work and then driven back home. And in this particular portion of my life, I'm just seeing that Yahweh is taking his time with me to show me things that I would not be able to see and experience otherwise. I'm grateful to Yahweh. Yeah.
Hallelujah. Praise Yah. You know, it's deep. You said that. Me and my wife, who was up last night, was watching The Middle.
The Middle.
And Brick, the little boy on there, he's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But Brick he was having issues. He was having, and you have to be a fan of The Middle to know what that was. But he was going through having invasive thoughts as well. So he was on his computer and he was looking up things from different sayings and things like that. But he was looking up he started reading about Buddhism. So he said there was a quote from this Buddha. And he said that the quote was that he had a chalice. And he loved this chalice. And what marked him to go watch this was he had broke something and he was going to fix it, but then he was looking up ways on how to fix it. And he came across this video. And he said that the guy in the video said, I love this chalice. I drink out of this chalice. But I know that this chalice is already broken. And as he goes on to explain the chalice, and then he explains, he says, well, the chalice is already broken, even though it's in my hand. So it's like, I enjoy drinking out of my chalice more, knowing that it is already broken. So that when it breaks, instead of being like, oh, I broke it, it's like, oh, it was already broken. And that's sort of like, and what Brick had got from it was that's life. Like, one day we're going to go. So while we're here, enjoy sipping out of the cup of life. Enjoy what comes from the cup of life. The reason we become how we are is because we focus so much on it being broken. So because we don't want to break the cup, we put it up. Now, he didn't say this. This is me saying this. You put it up and you protect it. And you do your best to protect it. Your children, your wife, your husband, your home, your health. So you do your best to sustain it, right? So then eventually, one day you open the cabinet and the cup falls and breaks. You're devastated. It has affected your life. It has affected your mood. All you can think about is that broken cup, to where you can't even function properly. But when you walk in knowing that, like all things, it returns back to the earth. When you look at something, not necessarily like where you dead already, but look at it like we don't have long. How about we look at it, we don't have long. So maybe I don't want to waste time arguing with you. Maybe I don't want to waste time. Maybe I want to be silly sometimes. Maybe I don't want to be serious all the time. Maybe I want to take better care of me. Self-care. Maybe I need to change my habits so that I can have more time to enjoy life. Maybe me eating healthy and working out isn't for show, but for me to enjoy my life. Because it's best to die peace than it is in pain. So maybe eating better will allow me, by Yah's will, not just eating better, but how about giving my burdens to the Most High? Yah, carry this for me so that my steps are a little lighter. So then that way, when my steps are a little lighter, I can move a little different. I can move a little better. Let me take this out of my diet so that I can eat better, so that maybe it can add by your will, Yah. You see what I'm doing. You will add some longevity to my life. Maybe I'll go exercise and go lift weights and go do these things, not necessarily for show. Not to show for man, but to show you, like, yo, I love what you've given me. You've given me life. You've allowed me another opportunity to grow. So let me take that opportunity to be that lotus flower. Let me take the opportunity. How do you think it would be? You know what's so beautiful is that the things that Yah told us to have dominion over carry the most wisdom. Look at a flower. You plant the seed in the ground, right? The flower itself, once it's watered and it's nurtured, it grows, right? A flower doesn't have a choice but to grow. A flower can't necessarily say, I'm stopping here on its own. It has to be either cut down or uprooted, but it doesn't have the capability to say, today I'm not getting up. Today, I know it's the first day of your new year, Yah, but I don't feel like opening up. I'm going to stay in my bed, or I'm going to stay huddled with my leaves covering the most beautiful part of me. Flowers don't have that capability, but we do. And that's been our issue. We only want to get up and be happy when things in our lives are going smoothly. But to truly appreciate life is to get up and do even when you don't want to. That's the true, to me, understanding of appreciating living. Move when you're tired because you can appreciate movement. Look at this person who's quadriplegic. They only got feeling from the neck down. Neck up, I'm sorry. They only got feeling, thank you, from the neck up. They can't move. Everybody has to change them. They can't get up and play in the grass. They can't get up and walk. Take someone whose sight is gone, whose sight impaired. They're blind.
Hearing is awesome.
Their hearing is awesome. But you know what's deep is? There's nothing like seeing beauty. But the thing that's so deep is that when you take the blind have an appreciation for everything. When you're blind, when the blind man touches something, he knows what it is. Taste, smell, his other senses are heightened. But I'm pretty sure that even though that blind man has a deeper, because I think that if Stevie Wonder had sight, his music may not be as potent. He feels music, which in turn makes you feel it. That's why maybe when you listen to a Stevie Wonder song, close your eyes. Feel it how he feels. But with me saying all that, I bet you that blind man would give anything to see the sunrise one more time.
Interesting that you say that, because that was going to be my second testimony. Because earlier this week, I didn't really sleep. Since earlier in the week, I said I wanted to watch the sun. And the space that I'm in, my window faces east. So, in the morning I did it. It was awesome. Kind of like giving birth.
Yeah. Yeah. Giving birth to a new day. Mm-hmm. A new refreshing hope. like with the Sabbath day, is a renewing of the spirit. That's why we shouldn't spend this day mad. We shouldn't spend this day angry. We shouldn't spend this day vexed because of what someone said or how someone made you feel. The day is supposed to be a day of pleasure, happiness, a day of celebration, of delight. That's right, babe.
Of ourselves, but of y'all.
But of YAH. But of YAH. And I think that if we celebrated YAH more, I know if we celebrated YAH more, I think we would have less to debate over. I think we would have less to argue over. We would have less to fight over. If we came together on the Sabbath day, you wouldn't have to tell people we need to have a unity conference to unify. If it's done under the umbrella of coming together under YAH, that's the unity in itself. That's all we need is that. You wouldn't need to say, we need to have this implemented. We need to have that. The reason that we're separated, I'm going to put myself out there to say that y'all let us have that in our own hands. We blame the Almighty and say, yeah, it was him. He separated us. No, we separated us. We could have worked through everything, but we didn't.
Because we want to be important.
Because we want to be important. The one thing that we allowed to lead us was the size of our egos. And what ended up happening was we took the toxic side of an ego, we ran with it. Now everyone's right, but no one can claim righteousness. It's deep. So, with that being said, praise YAH. It is an honor and a privilege to call up our speaker today. And I'm speaking of none other than my wife. She is the reason why the Statue of Liberty holds the torch so high.
Boy.
She is the reason for the season. Give it up. Give it up. Give it up. Let us stand and rise for my beautiful wife, Sydney. Praise YAH.
Oh my gosh.
Look at her, see on the outside, look on the inside. She's like, it's all right. Play some love.
I can't with him.
You so silly.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
So, I don't have my glasses, so I am going to be asking for assistance, Marie.
Ooh.
Can I read for you?
You sure can.
You stick your tongue out of me after I gave you that resounding.
So, I have been thinking about, as of late, the genuine help of people. And what are we doing it for? And how we are doing it. And I went to this story in scripture of somebody who I think is lesser known. And what he did took courage. What he did just took him thinking outside of self to be selfless. And his name is Ebed Melech. For those of you who don't know Ebed Melech is the Ethiopian eunuch who helped Jeremiah out of the well. And Jeremiah, of course, was a prophet who was going around spreading the Almighty's word and telling them of the doom and damnation, as he had prophets before him to do so, when we didn't want to follow the Father. So, he's just going from place to place like, yo, YAH is awesome, and this is what you guys need to do, and you gotta do this, and turn away from your wicked ways and quit worshiping. And he was talking to Judah like, y'all gotta quit worshiping these other gods because there's only one Elohim. And they was just kind of like, boy, bye. Ain't nobody trying to hear that rhetoric. Ain't nobody trying to hear you. And it seems to me that people who say things like that and don't invest in what some knowledge is burn the most. You ever have somebody owe you something or owe you money or something, and when they ask for it or you give it to them, everything is peachy and cream and everything. But if you say, hey, you got that, I said I was gonna give it, they have the most attitude about it, like you did something to them. And I think that's what happens in righteousness. When you speak in truth and righteousness and knowledge, people get burned by it if they're not ready to receive it, just like somebody not ready to pay you back. When all it simply has to be is, you know what, I don't have it right now. I'm sorry, but I did say I'll pay you back. Can I do? Communication is just so key. Oh my gosh. And people don't use it enough. Okay. So anyway, so Jeremiah is going and he's spreading this awesome word and he's doing all these things and and he's trying to get the word out. And then some boys came, right? Some boys came and was like, we ain't trying to hear you. So they put him in a well with mud. And so he was down there and he was gonna die. Like, it was bad, like bad. And he was just stuck there. And this one person, it only takes one. Be the change that you want to see in the world. It takes one person to do a thing, to start a thing, to ignite a flame, to do something. Ebed-Melech was that one person for Jeremiah. So he went to the king, right? And he was just like, in all humility, I'm coming before you because Jeremiah's gonna die. Like, he's in this well, he's gonna die of hunger. What we even put him in there for anyway? I'm pleading, let me go save his life. Let me go get him out of there so that he can do what he was charged to do. And the king relented, right? He was like, you know what? You coming to me, first of all, is a big thing. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I have no argument with what you're saying because it's true. So you go ahead, get some people together, and you go save this man. So he took a band of 30 people and he tied up clothes and he sent them down the well, had Jeremiah tie him around him, and they pulled him out of this cistern. My focus is on Ebed because how many of us would go to someone in charge for the righteous? How many of us would go to the king for something we believed is right? How scared are we to do that? How scared are we to be the Esthers of the world, to go to the king, or the Ebed Melechs, to plead on behalf of somebody who you may not have even encountered, just in the sake of righteousness? When you are doing something for someone in a genuine nature, that is the motivating force. It is the righteousness behind it, and it's how genuine you are. Fake help is exactly that. No one has to know your every move, because if that's why you're doing it, nothing is going to come of it. It is okay to say, hey, I'm helping the poor. I'm helping the needy to get assistance, but not for glorification of self. When Ebed when Ebed did this, you know who glorified him? You know who saved him from calamity? My daddy. Because he saw that he had a genuine spirit behind wanting to help someone who was doing his bidding. He was a eunuch. He was already having problems.
He was the only one with the balls to do it.
But he was the only one with the balls to do it. Say that. I'm sorry if that offended anyone. So let's talk about giving. And let's talk about the motivation behind giving. How many of us can claim to be Ebeds? How many of us can claim that when we do something genuinely or authentically for a person, that we're not doing it for the recognition of self, but we're doing it to see the effect that it has on the person that we do it for? How many of us can do that? And actually say, I can do something for my husband, and almost everything I do for him, he'll thank me and praise YAH. How many of us have the spirit to not only pray, but to praise the Almighty? How many of us have the spirit not to want to be right, as my husband always says, and to be righteous? If I'm doing for you, am I doing for you begrudgingly? Am I doing for you so that I can bring it up later? Am I doing for you so that I can hold it over your head? Am I doing for you to say, look what I did? This is what I did. This is who I am. This is who I help. This is what I do. Get those eyes out of here. He sees the motivation from what you're doing. Now, even if you chose to give or to do something for someone who has not always been favorable to you, he sees your motivation behind it, not their grimace. You have to want to do something so authentic that it pulls from your spirit. You have to want to be the change that you want to see. Treat people the way you want to be treated in order for this thing to be effective, because if it's not, it's going to affect you. Ebed Melech was that person. He was. He had nothing to do with Jeremiah, but the Almighty spared his life in lieu of it. So I have a couple of scriptures because that's what we do. And I have an amazing reader today.
Thank you, where you want to start?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Check out the cojones on that one.
Right. Some of that. It is my sister from another mister. Can you read Proverbs 3:27, please? Yes, ma'am.
Proverbs 3, verse 27. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it.
If you have something in your power to do, why would you be a little curmudgeon and keep everything to yourself? Why do you ever question that? Like, it's almost like a glutton. So I gave this example before. You ever have like something like a bag of chips? And these are the best chips. Like here in Cincinnati, we have Grippos, and I love barbecue Grippos. And so I'm eating my chips, and then somebody come ask for some. Why don't we hand them the bag then, or pour them some then? Why we got to keep eating until you get to the little crumb dust and then give that to them? Well, why do we do that? I know it's good to you, but it'll be good to them as well. And if you're not withholding it, guess what gets greater? My Father's blessing to you. So if I have a bag and I share it with you out of the goodness of my heart and out of the kindness that I really want to give it to you, he might bless me with a box, but I won't know that if I'm being selfish. I won't know that if I really don't want to give to you, or I'm giving to you begrudgingly. I don't need your passive aggressiveness. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I should not give it. If I'm not going to do the things that I do in humility and in my Father's word, then it's fruitless, because it bears no freaking fruit. I want my blessings to bear fruit. I want my mustard seed of faith to bear. I want it to bear a tree eventually, but I can't do that if every time I plant it and you say something about me planting it, I want to move it just for you not to have any. That's not in my Father's word, and it shouldn't be in my vocabulary either. If I say I'm following him and I'm doing his bidding, and I am trying to be a good servant, me withholding good from people who deserve it, if I have the surplus, is a terrible thing. And it is a no word. No word towards the Almighty. Like, no. If you are telling a toddler no, that's kind of what's happening to you. Like, no. Don't do that. If you can't be for real, like, seriously, if you have to begrudge the things that you do for me, and I'm speaking of myself personally, but as for people, don't do it, because it causes both of you a chagrin. It really does. Second verse, my sister. Proverbs 22:9.
Proverbs 22, verse 9. He that has a bountiful eye shall be blessed, for he gives of his bread to the poor.
Did you hear that? I'm going to share my loaf of bread with you. I will cut a piece of bread in 4 parts to share if you need bread. opposed to telling you I don't have one so I can just have that whole slice. It is about giving of oneself. Excuse me. It's about really wanting to. What kind of service do you want to be to the Almighty? When you give and when you do for others, is that not in His recommended daily plan? Like, is it not a part of the ingredients that make the soup as good as it is? Do you think if He withheld any of the bounty that He has given us over the years, that we would even be here to talk about it? But He has poured in His grace and His mercy and His love and kindness. And even though the wrath might be a black pepper, He's kept it away from us in most circumstances. When you make this soup, when you get these ingredients together to make a perfect recipe, your service to others, whether you know them or not, is one of the best savors, best tasting savors you can have in anything that you can ingest. It's so flavorful and it's just packed full of everything that you need with the blessing on top. You will. I can almost guarantee, though I can't speak for the Almighty, I can almost guarantee that when you do things with authenticity, you're genuine, you're giving from a kind spirit, you're giving from a loving heart, you're following His instructions, and you're putting in the right ingredients, that the blessing that you receive is going to be greater than what you could have ever put out. It's going to be so monumental. Ebed knew nothing of what the Almighty was going to do, but He spared his life. How much bigger of a blessing is that than maybe I got to eat an extra piece of cake, or maybe I didn't have to put on an extra depend today. I don't know. He was a eunuch. Okay. Next verse.
Yeah.
So, oh no. I mean, just a second.
Problems with your electronic Bible?
And it's on the desk. Proverbs 11 and 25.
You got paper Bible. Here. Swipe left.
Proverbs 11 and 25. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that waters shall be watered also himself.
The liberal soul shall be made fat. Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say when you give and when you do, that your reward is going to be greater? And I don't think that sometimes we look at things that way. We say, you know what? My wife made this taco lasagna for only me. So let me take 3/4 of it and have it. And my stomach is going to be hurting and I'm not going to feel good after, but it was good. So sometimes when you are ingesting way more than you should, it hurts. It doesn't feel good to the mind, body, and spirit. If you were to take that and to cut it in half then you could feel better about the portion you ate and controlled and the portion that you gave away. It was just for illustration purposes. But all I'm saying is that you will. So scripture says you reap what you sow. If you sow a bad seed, you might not get it today. You might not get it tomorrow. You might not even get it 10 years from now. But you will get it back. And what's wrong with getting good back? What's wrong with getting the fruits of our labor back? What's wrong with eating that soup with those nifty ingredients to be a better servant, to be a better person internally? Because when you help others, you help yourself. You might not think it's that way. You might think that I'm doing this for him or I'm doing this for her. It's not totally them. You're getting something in return. Not only are you getting something in return, but you're letting my daddy see his spirit flow through you. We don't have enough Ebed Melechs. We don't have enough people willing to rescue their brothers out of a cistern. And so dig up. So here's the thing, right? He had 30 men to go with him. So there were at least 30 other people who felt the same way, who thought this was a great cause. So sometimes when you do things for others, you have people who may not be as vocal as you are that will follow you when it's for the right thing. He could not get him out of the well himself, but 30 other people followed him and helped. You might not be able to start the homeless shelter by yourself, but once you get it started, you may have 30 other funders. You may not be able to provide food for the homeless, but once you have said something, you might have 50 grocery store chains to help out. But it needs to be done in righteousness. It needs to be done earnestly. And it needs to be done because it's something that you genuinely want to do. He genuinely wanted to save Jeremiah because Jeremiah was preaching the truth about the Almighty's word. It is a trickle-down effect. It is like a boomerang. It will come back. But the energy that you give will be the energy that you receive. So if you're doing things haphazardly, half-heartedly, guess what people are going to start doing for you? And then at that point, don't question. No, bruh. That's how you wanted it because that's how you put it out there. Don't put it out there. Hey, I used to be a supervisor at a job. And my very first day, the lady that I was taking over for, I had to make this binder. And so I got these papers that I had to put in my binder, and I put a hole punch in it, but I put the hole punch too far on the end. And I made another set of hole punches, and I put the paper in after I made the other set. And the lady that I was taking over for said to me, "Is that how you want this binder to look?" And I looked at it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. She said, "I would rather you make another copy and put the hole punches in correctly than to have another set that looks sloppy next to it." We don't want to be sloppy givers or sloppy doers. We want our hole punches to be aligned with the word of YAH. We want to be able to give and to do in his stead and really be in his stead. Don't do anything haphazardly and then use my daddy's name to back it up. Don't be out here saying, my wife had to get the word, had to get the rod across her back, or my children had to get the rod across their back in the word of YAH. Don't be out here treating people stank or shit or pooping on the things that they say. Poop.
This is not Death Row Club.
Pooping on the things that they say and do if you're not willing to give them instruction if they're not following a certain path. If you see your brother needs reproach or correction, do it. If you see where there is accountability and recourse, that's done in love. But make sure it's a righteous love and not you just trying to be arrogant or above somebody. Make sure that when you put my daddy's name as a seal on something that you're doing, that you're not doing it arrogantly. And your blessings will start to overflow. Your blessings will start being so abundant that you're not going to be able to handle them. But remember, what you put out there, you will definitely get back. So are you going to do things like the unrighteous did? Are you going to be like a Saul or a Jezebel, or even Aaron when he didn't have the patience to wait from his brother to come down from the mount? Are you going to be an Esther or Ebed Melech? How do you want your story to end? How do you want to write your narrative? What is going to make your dash count? And are people going to be on your side and in your corner when you're doing these things? Or are they going to ridicule you? Be of good measure. Do the Almighty's bidding the right way. I have a couple more things to read, and then I will be done. I think. So I really love this quote. It says, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." What are you giving today? Are you giving your best Ebed? Nope. What are you giving? And when you give and you use the Almighty's name, when you are of service to others, make sure you're doing it right. I don't want this to be a shameless plug, but I'm going to say it. I started a page on Facebook for Hebrews for the Israelites to put their name and occupation on there so that we could have some sort of reference page, that if we didn't want to go outside of our community, that there are people within our community that could help us, whether it be something like sewing or babysitting or carpentry or plumbing. We have it all in our community. And what I'm going to say right now is this: even if you don't join that page, And even if you don't have social media or want to be a part of Facebook, avail your services. We're in a time where we're going to need each other more than anyone knows. Avail your services so that you can be of use. Use the gifts that the Almighty gave you in a positive manner and fashion. Be your best Ebed Melech and save the Jeremiahs of the world so that his word can continue to be spread. It's a small thing, and we all have wonderful gifts. We do. Even if you say you don't know your purpose, maybe your purpose is just to make someone better at theirs. He had 30 men that came behind him. Maybe you're part of that 30. And with that, I will end. Shalom, shalom.
Oh, shalom, praise God. Praise Yah, that was beautiful.
Thank you, babe.
That was beautiful. Let's see. Hey, shalom, Sister Nadib, she says Shabbat Shalom. She also says praise Yah. Praise the mighty, mighty Yah. All right. That was really good. Ebed Melech. Ebed Melech. All right. That was good because I didn't know about him. That was really good. So I learned something today. Praise Yah. So giving more than you receive. Elder Yoli says, praise be to Yah. Thank you, Sister Sydney, for your wonderful teaching of selfless giving. Praise Yah.
Thank you, Elder Yoli.
And you know, I'm going to tell you, Sister Nadib says, what are we doing? We building soup kitchen or a homeless shelter, Auntie Sydney?
Yeah, don't get me started.
Let's get busy.
Don't get me started, pumpkin.
Let's get busy. Let's start doing the soup kitchen or the homeless shelter. It's things out there that we can do. Let's just take the bull by the horn, so to speak. And let's ride that bad boy. You know what I'm saying? Let's ride it. So one of the things here, and I agree with, but even with Sister Nadib, having homeless shelters. But you said something that was deep, like giving just to give, not to let's say giving to give and not to self-promote in a speaking system. Now, there's one thing I do agree with. Sister Nadib said, I'm in. Seriously. So let's talk about it then. Let's talk about how we can build a homeless, or how we could go about doing a homeless shelter. Even if we can get like a small place that might be able to house at least two families we can get off the streets to help build and grow. You understand? You know, because even the largest number had to start at one. So let's look about that. Let's think about that. And let's do that.
Don't I can learn.
So then, what's my train of thought? Yes. Now, the one thing I do agree with is, let's say you're giving, and the news wants you. Well, I'm not against going on the news and talking about, hey, here's the program that we're doing, because guess what? That might be more help. more funding. Because even Ebed Malek had the 30. So I need some help. So let's get some funding so that we can fund. So the one thing that I definitely want to do, I want the organization to get the name, not me. When people say, hey, just like if people say, hey, the House of Yehuda is helping the poor. That's right. Not Brother Michael. I'm happy to just be part of the House of Yehuda that's helping the poor. That's as far as I want to be. Because it ain't about me. It's the organization that's growing and building, not me. I grow and build with the organization. Just like when, I think that'd be awesome. So we need to set up a meeting then so we can talk.
Oh, you looking directly at me. Try to fit it in between my 2 jobs.
Sounds good. And we'll do it between our 2.
With our 2 jobs.
Yeah.
6 jobs up in here.
Yeah, so we'll fit it in. So y'all willing we'll do that. And Sister Nadeed, maybe sometime this week. Well, next week maybe. Because I think that y'all willing next week, because the new week starts tomorrow. First day of the new week starts tomorrow. So that next week, because y'all willing that following week, I know I'm off all week. Not from both jobs though, but from just the one.
Yeah,
so I'm off for the rest of the week. So yeah, we can do that. Elder Nesha says, praise y'all, sister. I enjoyed your presentation as always. Praise
Thank you, Elder Nesha.
That was beautiful. Praise y'all. Something I want to discuss real quick is dealing with something called mastering forgiveness. Mastering forgiveness. A lot of times when it comes to mastering forgiveness, I think when it comes to forgiveness, we kind of put the cart literally before the horse. And what do I mean by that? We are encouraged and sometimes highly influenced to forgive everyone else, but not too encouraged to forgive yourself first. And I think that's putting the cart before the horse, because it's like this. Forgiveness has got to, everything, just about everything that we do has got to start with one's self. So before I can truly forgive you, I have to forgive myself for something. A lot of times we beat ourselves up, which in turn breaks our esteem down even more. It makes us feel worse. And when we try to build ourselves, we still have that the biggest roadblock in front of us is our own self. Is it arrogant to not forgive yourself, but to be forgiven of others? It's just a thought that I have. Is it arrogant? Is that haughty? Is that prideful? Like, no, I'm not going to forgive me. I'll forgive you, but I won't forgive me. And I know nobody says it, may not say it like that, but I'm just making it seem like that. I'm just adding a little bit more, a little theatrics to that thought. So I'm not going to forgive me. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. I'll forgive you. Well, how genuine is my forgiveness of you if I, haven't started with myself? A lot of times we're always fighting with ourselves. The biggest enemy, I love the African proverb. If there's no enemy within, the enemy without can do no harm. And sometimes the biggest enemy is us. We as individuals. Yeah. Not as a, when you look at our community, we're the biggest enemy. On a daily, we're committing suicide. Spiritually, mentally. When the physical suicide takes place, it had already sort of engulfed us mentally. We were already dead. Because there's some things in our lives that we have done that we just feel like, I can't forgive myself for that. Well, why not? Why not? You have to, before anyone, I'll say this, and I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. Before anyone can really move forward in their lives, you have to sometimes declutterize, right? You have to declutterize. We'll declutterize our house, our storage unit, but sometimes we gotta go back and we gotta sit with ourselves and begin to declutterize. Okay, you know what? Because a lot of times we get ourselves in situations like, I told my sister something. I'm going to reveal this to y'all. When I first got married, my first wife, I wasn't ready to be a husband. I wasn't raised to be a husband. I love my Ema, but I felt like we were kind of raised to be dependents and not dependable. Which in turn made me lead with emotion and not righteousness, not logic. So my first wife and I, we had a toxic relationship because I brought a toxicity in that matched her toxicity. So there was no peace. Then my second marriage, I'm sad to say, and it's not sad to say the second marriage, but it's sad to say a second marriage because when you get married, you don't necessarily get married to get divorced. You get married to grow and to build. But there are instances where it's like, look, I can't build with you no more. I can't build with you no more. I can't grow. Yeah, it's barren. So I got married again. And when I entered that marriage, in both marriages, I wasn't a man. Because emotion led me. I didn't stand on YAH. I stood on, not making my mate feel inadequate. Her making me feel a certain way. I didn't stand strong. I wasn't a man in those relationships. So then, the one thing I told my sister that I regret, I didn't use the word regret, but I wish I had did, and I was about to do it, but I didn't, was be to myself. I needed to regroup. I needed to find me. In our relationships, we work so hard being what someone else wants us to be that we lose ourselves. And what ends up happening is when we lose ourselves and the other person gets tired of us being on the search for ourselves or gets tired of us, then we're put in a position where I don't know what to do because I don't know who I am anymore. So what do I do? So then I become a chameleon just to survive because I've let someone form me into something they wanted me to be. And when they tired of it, now I'm here. I'm here too. So in order to move forward, I gotta find me again. And I didn't take that time. I didn't take that time to build, to study what it was to be a man. I moved from one I was like I told my sister, we'll be with a woman. She broke up with me. I said about a week or so later, I was with another woman. You know why? Because I was scared. I was afraid. I was afraid of responsibility in so many words. I was afraid to live on my own. I didn't think I could do it because I wasn't taught to be independent. Remember? And this is no diss to my mother. I love my mother. She could only do what she could do. She wasn't a man. So then, if you're not independent, then you're dependent. So then it was easy for me to move in with a woman, even knowing the law. I only say this because I want the world to know that I wasn't the best guy. And then my wife now. My wife now, I wish I would have. I was out looking for an apartment. And I said, no, let me have just a part of the home that you had. Because she had a really big house when we were dating. And I was wrong for that. We were dating. I had no reason living there. We were dating. We weren't even engaged.
We weren't dating.
We were courting. That's right. We were too old to be dating. We were courting.
That's where he.
So the thing is, that was my time in order for me to grow and to become a man. To become a man that I felt a man that she deserved. But I didn't. I gave in to my insecurity. And I didn't. So we lived together. Then eventually we got married. And no, we didn't have. Yeah. But there you go. But I say all this to say that in order to truly move forward, you have to be to yourself. You have to grow and you have to stop and you have to think. Of sometimes when you are to yourself and you're working on you, you're able to say, well, maybe it was me. Or you go, it wasn't me. I can truly and sincerely say that it wasn't me. That it was not me because I tried. Now, that's not taking any blame off of you for the things that you may have done. But it's when you realize, like, no, it wasn't me. So now I can walk through life and now I can say, now I can truly move forward because now either it was me and I can go and apologize or say, hey, and well, I apologize for me. Even if you don't want to get back with me, guess what? That's fine. I understand. Let me move forward. Or you go, it wasn't me, and I'm just going to move forward. Because the one thing that I did was I brought yesterday in with my future. And when you bring yesterday in and try to grow from yesterday and build on tomorrow, that yesterday is always going to be a little heavier than the next day because, of course, tomorrow's not here yet. So you only have yesterday and you have today. So when you're bringing in yesterday, you're not only dealing with yesterday's baggage, you're carrying on today's baggage, and now you're about to add on tomorrow's baggage. So the best thing to do is let me get rid of some of this baggage. Let me let you go. You know what? Sometimes people feel like, well, I'm gonna share something with you. Sometimes people say, well, I'm not happy because I didn't get closure. But I'm explaining exactly. But I'm explaining something to you. This is what I've learned. The best closure is when you forgive yourself. That's the best closure. For whatever wrong you did, that's the best closure. Because sometimes you either don't get closure or the person's not going to be receptive of you trying to do any closure. You got to deal with their reaction to you coming to them and saying, hey, I feel this way. And they dealing with, I was good to you, man, or you were nothing to me. So now you dealing with that, because now this would be like, you know what? I forgive myself. You know why I forgive myself? Because I allowed myself to lose myself in something or give myself to somebody who didn't create me. So the unfortunate thing was I took myself away from the one who did create me. And I deserved what I'm dealing with now being this way because I allowed myself to be given. I gave something away that didn't belong to me, and that was me. I don't belong to me. Come on, Brother Michael, you drinking? No, I don't belong to me. I belong to the Most High. Everything that I do, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm not sovereign. I can't disconnect from my Creator. You see, so everything that I do, let me tell you something. If I'm in control of me, let me read something here. Turn with me to the book of Psalms 100. Turn to Psalms 100 real quick. In the book of Psalms 100, I'm going to read a verse. In the book of Psalms 100, it reads in verse 3, know ye that YAH, he is Elohim. It is he that hath made us and not we ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? So whether a person says, I'd rather walk my own walk, even you walking your own walk, you still not really walking your own walk. Because even every step you think you're taking on your own is still controlled by the Most High. How so, brother? Can you control your own destiny? You may not be able to control your destiny. But you do have control over the things that take place while on your destiny walk. So in other words, you have control over your thoughts. You have control over your things that help formulate the destiny that you're on. But you don't necessarily have control over your full destiny. Do you really think, and I'm using him as an example, do you really think P. Diddy thought that he would be in this position in his life? Making so much money and having so much control, do you really think that he sat and thought like, and then think about this. Why do you get insurance? Why do we get lawyers? Because there are things in life that are what? Unpredictable. If we had control over our life, we could predict everything in our lives. We don't control how our life goes, but we do have control over the direction that our life goes. So in other words, I can control certain things. We talked about in science, you have things called independent variables and dependent variables. Independent variables you can control. Dependent variables you cannot control. Then you have constants. These are science terms. Constants. Constants is something that doesn't change. And then you have control. Control is something that is confined, right? YAH has total control over everything, right? So, in other words, when it comes to seeking closure, seeking forgiveness, you've got to start with yourself. And I'm going to read a few comments on here. Praise YAH. Elder Yoli says, if we allow YAH to build us up instead of ourselves, we will be able to stand. That is true. Because when we allow YAH to build us up, he's going to make sure that we have a steady foundation. When the countenance is sad, we can truly think about how we need to change. When we are willing, YAH is truly able. And praise YAH. Thank you, Elder. Elder Yoli says, Moray, you are exactly right. Men have a hard time with being by themselves to grow due to fear. I was married for almost 30 years and have not been in a relationship in 14 years, and I am happy. Praise YAH. Elder says, I concur. I am not my own, and I am so glad. I was created for YAH's glory, and I am going to glorify him until my last breath. Praise YAH. Beautiful wisdom, Elder Yoli. And I'm going to tell you something. Once we get into our minds that we don't belong to ourselves, maybe we'll treat ourselves a little better. You know. So let's get into this mastering of forgiveness. Okay. Let's look at a few scriptures dealing with forgiveness. Turn with me to the book of Psalms. Turn with me to the book of Psalms, chapter 86. So what I want you guys to do to starting today is sit down with yourself. Think about the things that have taken place in your life. Things, people you've hurt. Things that you've allowed yourself to hurt people because you were hurt. And look back and forgive yourself. And then begin to move forward. Because the longer that you hold on to hurt will be the longer it takes for you to heal. Sometimes we carry hurt more than we do love for ourselves. Sometimes hurt becomes a great bedfellow. And we cuddle up with hurt. And we do pillow talk with pain. And what ends up happening is we leave one mentally abusive relationship to go into another abusive relationship. But the difference is the entity abusing you is you.
What the elder say earlier, we love to stay with pain or something.
We love to be, some of us don't want to be healed.
Yeah.
So we can make other people sick. But those are people who love to be miserable. Those will be people who like to make up sicknesses so they can get medication for it. What do they call that disease? It's a mental Munchausen's. Sound like a cupcake. Munchausen. Try the Munchausen's cherry cheesecake. Munchausen's.
Munchausen disease. Typically, parents doing it to children, but
yeah, we do it to ourselves.
We do it to ourselves.
When we get into relationships and
Especially if we're self-righteous
and complain about the relationship, get out of the relationship and still complain about the relationship. Man, I can't believe she did that. But why would you let her do it? I mean, how long y'all been? I mean, we divorced and she remarried, but she still made me feel bad. She can't make you feel nothing if you don't allow it to be.
That part.
You understand? Here's the thing. Man got control over everything. That's just like when it's not fair for a man to say you need to make me feel like a man. If I need a woman to make me feel like a man, that means I wasn't a man in the first place. That's just like a woman. Make me feel like a woman. Baby, I can't make you feel like a woman. Now I can be gentle to you. I can. My job is not to make you feel like a man or to make you feel like a woman, but to compliment what you already know that you are to be. That is my job. I am not here to make you happy. I am here to compliment the happiness that you already exude within yourself. So with that being said, that is why we are always struggling in our relationships. But the only way to find that out is to sit with YAH and sit with yourself. So I apologize to my wife now for the things that I've done. Like my biggest thing was I wasn't, I didn't think about, when it came to finances. I was horrible with finances. I thought it was more important for me to spend it on a pair of shoes or an outfit or something I wanted as opposed to my house. I had a whole truck. This truck was so nice. My wife went with me. She helped me to get it. It was beautiful. Fresh off the line. I mean, it was so nice that the steering wheel hadn't even been broken in yet. It was so brand new. Beautiful truck. And when I had that truck, I wasn't humble with it. You know what I did with that truck? I'm admitted. I drove it this is when me and my second wife had just divorced. I drove it and parked it in front of the Bible class so that she could see I'm doing good by myself. That wasn't the best way to show that you're doing good. The best way to show that you're doing good is you get that confidence back that you allow her to take from you.
Be happy.
That's what it is. That's what happened. You needed to get that. But in order for me to be happy, I had to get my confidence back. Because a lot of times we feel like I don't deserve to be happy unless I show them up. Let me get a bigger house. Let me get a job so I can make more money. And I'm going to show you how I am. I'm going to show you up this way. That's a person who's miserable with their life. When you allow things to dictate how great you truly are. You understand? Like, for example, for me to sit here and to say these things and to admit these things, it took a lot of time. I've talked to people outside of here, you know what I'm saying? But I say these things not to be a martyr, but to show you that I'm human. Of course, I don't have to say those things to show you that, but I'm human. I mess up. But I'm also here to tell you that once you learn to love yourself, then you're going to learn to forgive yourself. Some people might think that you're weird, but you go and you hug yourself. You just,
man, I've been all weird my entire life.
Man, ain't nothing wrong with it. Well, it depends. It depends on the type of weird. Now you sleeping in the bed with baby dolls and and you grown and you wearing diapers. But no. But what I'm saying is that you got to learn to love yourself. Before I can love you, I can't love you if I don't love me, especially if you're my rib. You're my rib. So in order for me to love you as my rib, I got to appreciate and love on my ribs. And you not showing love to yourself if you're not taking care of yourself. I'm going to tell you something. When you stay angry, that's a spirit that is so consuming. When you stay angry, I'm going to tell you something. Sometimes I fight the spirit even to this day. I always feel like somebody after you. That's me. I feel like I gotta stand up, but I gotta say. I was very Especially when I first got into the knowledge. You gotta agree with me. If you don't agree with me, then the hell with you, and you don't love me, and you don't like me, so I don't. It's so freeing when you can tell people what I believe. Now, if as long as what you believe ain't detrimental to my house,
That victim mentality.
believe what you want to believe. Nobody, on the road to healing, I have got to let go of certain things. Me and my wife go back and forth because sometimes I'll tell her, I'll be like, babe, you ain't stand up for me. You ain't say this for me. But as a man, why you got to stand up for me? I'm not your child. I'm your man. So I can do it myself. Right? I don't need my wife to step in for me. And if she chooses to, that's a blessing. If she don't, that's a blessing. Now, the one thing that but that's when you learn to love yourself. Man. Love yourself. But it's a work, though. It don't happen overnight. Sometimes I slip back into it like, damn, baby, you ain't going to say this to me. Like, you ain't going to say this. The girls might say something. Damn, baby, you ain't going to step in and say this to her. I can't expect her to. Them are babies. Right? So, but that don't mean I'll let them disrespect me, though.
This person.
Oh, it was personal when I first said, well, my first wife. It was already personal. No, I'm just kidding. But
that was information I was privy to. This sounds
very
intimate.
No, I'm messing with her. But the thing is, we have to learn to forgive ourselves before we can. That's the true mastery of forgiveness. Here are a few other comments too. Niche, hey, shalom, Niche, praise Yah. She said, Shabbat Shalom, family. I am only able to be on here for a few minutes, but I love that you're speaking about forgiving self and others. I believe it's easier to forgive others sometimes than self. You're absolutely right, Sister Niche. Absolutely right. Sometimes it's easier to forgive others. Maybe it's looked at as easier because we don't do it often to ourselves. Because maybe it's not taught in us. It's not instilled in us to forgive ourselves. We're told to sort of like change. Just be different. Let it go. And just forgive. That forgiving others, we're even told that forgiving others is therapeutic. Like can be therapeutic. Like forgive, just forgive, just forgive. Forgive the things, let certain things go in certain arenas. But to truly receive and to grow and to build that therapeutic rapport is you have to build it with yourself first. Yes, ma'am.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I think very often, of course, it depends on your environment. I think oftentimes that we are taught that thinking about ourselves, almost any capacity, is selfish. That we're always expected to think of others and how we treat others.
That's right.
And we are secondary.
That's right.
And so many individuals are suffering because they've spent all of their time worried and focused on other people or how other people see and or perceive them.
Mm-hmm.
That they don't spend any time with themselves. Like there's nothing wrong with saying, no, this makes me uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't like this, da 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 da, and then have a conversation about it. There's nothing wrong with that.
That's right.
It's self-preservation. And I would venture to go so far as to say that Yahweh wants us to think of ourselves, because if we don't, in many instances, we would cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's what allows any person that seeks to take advantage of other people the ability to do that, because the victims that they have did not have the wherewithal to set a boundary and say, no, I'm not okay with this. No, this is not right. No, this doesn't feel good. And it's very, very important to take care of one's in any and all capacities. Because if you don't, you'll cease to exist. Much like a fox chases a rabbit.
Mm-hmm. That's a great example. What would happen if the rabbit said, "Oh, the fox look hungry"?
Like, yeah.
There would be no
it's
rabbits.
part of the natural cycle, but they still fight against it.
Exactly. Exactly.
They don't just lay there like, okay,
I
part
know.
of the food chain.
Let a lion show up in a gazelle. The gazelle,
Right. You got
they don't play. You got to catch this meal. You got to catch me, baby. That's nature. It's unnatural to not think about self-preservation.
It's natural. It's not selfish. It's natural.
Exactly. Look, check this out. Let me read a few comments, and then I'm gonna go back because you brought out a good point. So, I am the light. Praise Yah. All praise to the Most High Yah. Shalom. I am the light. Praise Yah. Good to have you on. Good to have you on too, Sister Niche. Praise Yah. Elder Nesha says, praise Yah. We need to examine what kind of spirit we are dealing with each and every day. It's true. Elder Yoli says, at the senior center I attend, there is a mantra the director leads us in after lunch. Says, I am important, loved, I am not alone. I thank Yah for this community. Praise Yah. That's right. And we all need to feel like we're not alone. Because here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. We measure greatness by the things that we have that depreciates over time. Like people, money. What do you mean people depreciate over time? They lose their value. What do you mean, brother? I'm not saying use people, but sometimes when you want to grow and they don't, they want to stay in the streets. They want to keep going in and out of clubs and drinking. And even though you met them that way and y'all best friends when y'all was both in the crack house smoking crack, sniffing cocaine. Y'all were buddies when you and Tasha was in the streets being prostitutes. But now you done found a different way. So now this girl who was your best friend while y'all was running the streets, she wants to stay in the streets, but you like, nah, I don't want to stay in the streets no more. I'm done. Something bigger I want to do. Girl, why? What's between your legs, girl, is going to get you paid. Yeah, but it's not going to allow me to grow. All right, girl. So guess what? That friendship depreciated. So it's not just things that lose value, people lose value. Now, if you my friend and you want to grow with me, like one thing I talk about is what LeBron James did with his friends. LeBron James took them with him and said, look, you want to be with me? Y'all got to go to school. He put them all through college, through business school. He said, because one day you want to be marketable because you ain't going to just want to be with me. You're going to want to have your own. So he put his boys through and they all graduated business school. That was the only way they could be around him. Most people don't think like that. Most people are like, nah, I want my people to stay subservient under me. I want them to be like, LeBron, you the man. You the man. He was like, nah, I want you to be the man. I want you to be the woman. You know, and if it came to it and I needed to hire you, then I'm going to hire you. But you're not going to be, I'm not necessarily like, I don't know if this is who's thinking, but I'm thinking like, wow, I'm not going to hire you because you're my friend. I'm going to hire you because you're good at what you do and can help me grow.
Because you are an asset.
Because you're an asset now. I thought about something like my age. Like now, I have friends. But I kind of like I want to start surrounding myself around those that are also growing. You don't have to be growing the same way I am, but at least you're motivated. That's the motivation, inspiration for me to grow. It ain't nothing like my friend, like our friend Curtis. He sends me inspirational videos. And I thank him for that. You know, looking at our friend Mike and Nissa and their relationship. How that's inspiring. You know what I'm saying? Our friend Sherry and Joe. Sherry and Joe. Their relationship. How inspiring that is. So it's like, you know, and I can't forget about Sis and my man, how they working together to build his business. Now she got her own business, the charcuterie. That's it.
Tracy and
yeah, how they got their own business. How that's inspiring. Couple goals, growing. You understand? Sister Niche says, you guys have a wonderful rest of the Shabbat and an amazing up and coming week. Praise Yah, Sister Niche. You and the babies do as well. Give them a hug from us. Praise Yah. Shalom, shalom, sister. But let's get into some scriptures. What my sister was talking about when she brought out the fact of the self-preservation. Turn to Proverbs 9. Sometimes we stay in poisonous relationships, not just marriages, relationships, period. For what? For the sake of who? We always want to use the children as our personal Christ. What do you mean using them as our personal Christ? We use them as our personal Christ because we're sacrificing self for the sake of a relationship that's like a slippery ball. Don't want to be held on to. I'm just here. That is a horrible relationship to be in. I'm just here.
And there are friendships like that. I know someone, because I no longer call her my friend. I know someone, every instance that she got in trouble, I can't say every instance, but a lot of instances where she was in trouble, she called me. I was always there for her. Every single time. But in calling me and talking to me about what was going on, she never ever had time for me and my life.
Mm-hmm.
And everything I did to her came with a and or a but or some sort of caveat. And she broke her ankle and I took her food so that she could feed her babies because she couldn't get up and cook. One of the things I made her a big spaghetti bake that she could have a couple days. And she was like, what, no garlic bread?
Yeah.
We went to a concert and when we initially went to this, I bought her ticket to the concert. And when we initially went to the concert, she sat with me and then saw other friends and spent the rest of the night with them. And so it was just small things like that over time to make me realize I was more her friend than she was mine. And so friendships can be as well in that arena. They can be just as toxic if there's no equity.
Praise Yah. And in all situations, we have choices.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we choose to stay in those relationships,
Sometimes
friendships.
we
We
do.
choose because sometimes we're like, well, maybe they'll change. Maybe they'll see that I'm really this and I'm really a friend. And sometimes people take advantage of that. And they'll say, well, where you going to go? Or they'll guilt you to stay. Then when they guilt you to stay, you stay. So what ends up happening, you end up being super miserable. And the more that you're guilted and being in this pit of misery, you start losing more and more and more of yourself to where you can become a person to where those little, them $1,500 human looking dolls that people buy, men buy. Those things will end up having more life in them than you will.
Stay for comfort.
And it ain't.
It's a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there.
And you laying there and you just existing, not living, not even for yourself. The things you found joy in, you stop finding joy in it. Because sometimes people make you feel guilty of being happy. You can only be happy when I'm happy. You can only be happy when I'm happy. So if I'm not happy, then why are you happy? I mean, I've done that myself. And it's a horrible place to be. But in Proverbs chapter 9, I'm going to read verse 10. I'm going to start at verse 9. It says, give instruction to a wise man, he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. And in my relationships, I used to hang out with Moray Yoel and Brother Yotham. I don't know if you remember Brother Yotham. And them were my boys. And I would hang out with them sometimes after the Sabbath, and I would tell them about my relationship and stuff like this. And there'll be one day, I remember this, we were in Kroger's. And we were getting some snacks and stuff for the night. We was gonna go to a fight or something we was gonna watch. And these two brothers, Brother Yotham especially, was like, bruh, either you gonna leave or you gonna stay. Simple words. I said, dang. You right. I used to go, we had an Elder Saray, and her husband. And me and Elder Saray, this was my first marriage too. Me and Elder Saray, we would go get wings from, used to be a little chicken wing spot going to Avondale. That we would go after the Sabbath, we'd go get wings, and we would sit in the car and she would drive me home, and we would talk. And she would just drop jewels on me. And her husband thought I was henpecked. He would say henpecked. I couldn't be mad. Because when I walked into the relationship, I wasn't on my own. And that's the reason, another reason too, why if you're a young man, you need to be on your own, or you need to have your own, because when you become dependent on someone, that's exactly what you become. You're no longer a husband, you're someone they can claim on their taxes. You're a child at that point. And you don't deserve to be with a woman, you deserve to be in a nursery. You're a grown man, you can't do it on your own. You ain't got your own as a every man when you grow. But that's something where when you look at most of our tribal communities, Eastern concepts, when you look at let's take some African tribes, men go through rites of passage. We don't have that in our community. Because in our community, we don't have the men that we need in order to do the rites of passage. Because hell, half of them don't know what the Father like. I'm going to tell y'all what this white guy said, and it hit home. But let me finish reading this in this Proverbs 9. It says, it talks about in 10 that the fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom, right? Verse 12 reads, if thou be wise for everybody around you.
Right.
Is that what that says?
So.
Pause. No, it don't. It says, if thou be wise for everybody around you. No, be wise for self. Dang, we ain't even got the common sense of a mouse. If a mouse gets caught in a trap and it gets away, you do not see it. If a squirrel, and I've just learned this, if a squirrel is in a position that, and they're in a dangerous position, let's say you shoot at it with a BB gun or something, it knows not to come back to that spot. But who is the only dog that returns to his vomit? Us. Us. And the scriptures, even Solomon said, like a dog returns to his vomit. That's exactly what we do. we return to to the same filth that we clean off from. But let me tell you what this white guy said. He said, like I told you, I get wisdom from all different areas. But check this out. He said, one of the premise of his conversation was, we worrying about racism. He's arguing with another white woman. And he wasn't saying nothing racist. He was just stating the fact. He said, we're worried, you know, not we, but racism isn't the problem. Or no, he said racism, he said racism isn't the problem. What about the fact that there are not black fathers in the home? And you stop and think like, man, what you think about, man, no, racism. Damn. You're right. He said basically he was saying like what has happened was the black woman has been sort of ingrained to marry the government that entail teaches her to divorce the black husband. And it was really deep to me. Like, I didn't think of it like that. Like, racism is a problem. Yes, it is an issue. But so is not having the black father in the home. In some cases. Yes, ma'am.
I think it would be more important that there be a healthy black father,
I agree.
Because there are a lot of black fathers in homes, but they are not healthy. Therefore, the offspring are not healthy, and so on and so forth.
I agree.
But if there is a healthy, righteous-minded captain of the helm, then the passage is made that much.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree. But I still understand what he was saying, though.
No, I totally understand that too, but
like when there's no black father in the house to raise these boys,
but again,
even these daughters.
It's got to be a right state of mind.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I totally agree. That's not taken away from that. That it has to be, you got to have the right state of mind. Hell, both parents got to have the right state of mind.
Both parents need the right state of mind.
Or you gonna have if this parent is off track and this parent is off track, then the child never grows up on schedule. It's always gonna be off schedule. So I totally agree with that.
The child gonna go out and find somebody else that's off schedule.
Yeah.
Because that's all they know.
Yeah, that's true. That's all they see.
They won't be able to function with normal scheduled people because none of the traits will be relatable. It'll be foreign. They won't know how to function on that stage. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? That's not what I'm used to.
Exactly. So you do have to have that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I think inadvertently we become the people that we're sometimes not raised to be. And like, for instance, there was a story that I heard where a young girl, her father was abusive and he was an alcoholic, and he would whoop her and her brother at random for the smallest things. And she was the eldest. So whenever her father started to drink, she would take her baby brother and they would hide in the cupboards and she would hold him. And so what came out is inadvertently she became a protector. She didn't know how to disassociate that herself with that, not to protect everyone that she was around. And it harmed her relationships because she felt as though she had to protect everything in her relationships with men, and she did not give them the opportunity to look out for her, because she was always putting her arms around her baby brother, so to speak. And I think that happens more often than not. When we have been geared to do something inadvertently, sometimes we become those people. I have it in me, because I had to do things from such a young age. It's hard for me to get that out of my mind about different responsibilities, because inadvertently I was given that task and I had to conform to that. And I think a lot of what we do as adults is from our conformity of what has happened in our past, like you were speaking on, being dependable and a dependent.
And I think that in this conversation, what it goes to show is both are screwed up. And we as men, especially as Israelite men, need to realize that we both messed up. Can't expect you to be the woman of old if you're not the man of old. I'm not the man of old. I'm not the man of old. I'm not like my forefather. Why? Because I've been tainted. So I can't expect my woman to be like Sarah if I'm not like Abraham. And a lot of times, and that's what's so definite, and I think that that's what happens in a lot of our Israelite communities, is we, and this might get me unpopularized, if that's not even a word, by most of the community. I'm gonna say this. That's why a lot of us thrive on the fact of teaching about, or a lot of the teachings that we do, it makes this to make a woman feel like she is subservient, and not to make a woman feel like, we understand we're in the position of being a man. I learned this from Minister Elisha. He was like, man, a real man can walk in the room, don't gotta say nothing. He ain't gotta say I'm a man. Like, man, you see that. He ain't gotta holler, yell, and exert any type of over masculinity. Because I also learned about alpha males and being an alpha male. I learned that, man, alpha males, they hunt, but they don't keep. But a male keeps, he holds on. A male is the one that, when the alpha male tripping, that's who the woman goes to talk to go get comforted by, is the male man. Not the male man, but the male, the one who's a male. And I ain't talking about it could be marriages. And I'm not saying it to be right. I'm saying it to be real. Like, there's women out here, man, that's falling, that's who they fall in love with. Man don't want to listen to them. They feel like and then they meet a guy who listens to them, who makes them feel not even a beta man, but a man who makes them feel wanted. And they go out here and they get with, and now all of a sudden, and I'm not justifying it, but that's what happens. And you have, what do you think? How do you think, look at Abigail. Her husband was a fool. David come along. She was like, just remember me. Like, bet. Got you. Y'all took him out the picture. Took Nabal out the picture. And then she ended up being one of David's wives. See, those are stories that we as men gotta keep in our Rolodex too. Like, hey, just like YAH giveth, YAH taketh away. When we don't appreciate our wives. And I ain't saying this to beat up on men. I'm just saying it to make us realize, like, yo, if we don't appreciate our woman, then guess what? He'll take it. You don't want her, okay. And vice versa. Women don't appreciate their husbands. Hey, guess what? Okay. You understand? But we're all broken. And we all need to learn how to forgive ourselves before we can extend that same forgiveness to others. Let's look at the scripture. Turn to Psalms 86. In the book of Psalms, chapter 86, my love, will you read verse 5, please?
5, chapter 86.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "For thou, YAH, art good and ready to forgive, and plenteous in mercy unto all them that call upon thee."
Now, let me say this. Like, YAH, sometimes when you're dealing with forgiveness, this is basically the first person you start with is yourself. I might not have been the best father, might not have been the best husband, might not have been the best brother, but you sit back and you say, I forgive me for what I put myself through to not be, excuse me, to not be the best that YAH wants me to be. Please forgive me. And you say that to yourself and you repeat that. On them days you want to beat yourself up, you say, nope, I forgave myself. I'm sorry that I allowed someone else to take me away from me. Forgive me.
And be willing to.
And then be willing to change. You can't ask for forgiveness for yourself and then go back and be the same chameleon. Change. You got to be like, look, okay, it's not easy, but got to do it. In order for me to have true peace, I got to let go of what's holding me back from receiving that peace. In order for me to find true solace, I have to let go. I got to let go of these jagged rocks. Even though I'm standing at the top of this cliff, and behind me is depression, anger, frustration, insecurities behind, but wrapped in those things are security, comfort, a cushion to fall on if I slip. But those things come with a consequence of me still having to be depressed, angry, frustrated. But this is what I'm used to. When we left out of Egypt, we fussed because we were accustomed to the foods and the dainties of Egypt, even though we were put under harsh bondage. We could still go to our homes in Goshen and lay our heads down. Even though we were still, now we out here in this wilderness, thirsty. We could go to a cistern and get our water, but now we got to fend for ourselves. I'm scared. So when you look at our people, most of our disobedience came from the fear of not having. That's why when we got out there in the wilderness, we were fussing. You know, YAH, where we going? Moses brought us out here. He brought us out here to die. The Almighty said, look, I'm going to rain manna down. I'm going to feed the people. He fed us. So he was like, what's this? Oh, we're going to call that manna because we don't know what it is. But it tastes like honey and olive oil, and it's sweet, and it's this. But it's delicious. And people was eating that. I'm tired of eating the manna. I want to go home. I want to go back to Egypt so we could eat fish. And we had onions, and we had this. So he said, you know what, Moses, calm down. I know you angry. I know you vexed at him. I'm going to give him quail. So he rained down quail. And there was a point where he rained down so much quail that we was eating so much that we were vomiting it. We became gluttonous. And the Almighty like, yeah, I'm going to give him this. Why? Look at him. Look at him. So when you look and you study the history of our people, of us, man, a lot of it was because we were afraid, man. We was afraid to believe and trust in YAH, even though we saw his works. Even though we can all give testimonies to how Yah saved us, we still can say a time that even after he saved us, we did something else stupid.
Yep.
Knowing that Yah is real because of how he showed out for us. And we still do something stupid. But when you look back and you got all the comforts, your security, your job, but over that cliff, you see it's just clouds. You don't know what's down there. All you may hear is rushing water. You may hear, a few baying of the sheep. You like, man, what the heck's down there? You hear the water crashing up against these rocks. But behind you, it's calling you, don't jump off that cliff. Don't leave us. Stay here with us. You stay here with us, this is what you will receive. Didn't you like it here in Egypt? Didn't you like being able to go fishing? Didn't you like the bread? Yeah, wasn't that good to you? Huh? Wasn't that good? Didn't I treat you well? Okay, we had our problems. These are what the things are saying to you that don't want you to move forward, but you know if you go back, you're just going to be stuck. So then you might have went back a few times. That silk pillow felt good. But then you woke up and realized that it was rocks in that pillow. And now you've given up so much more of yourself that now you feel like there's no way for me to leave now. I'm just stuck in this relationship. I'm stuck at this job. I'm stuck here. There's nothing for me to, I don't know what to do. Might even have contemplations of suicide. Like, man, maybe that'll help me. No, bruh. So then eventually you get the cojones and you stand up and you say, no more of this crap. So you get away from it and you walk to the end of that cliff and you hear that water just rushing. And the person, and you got people, and you might have children that's saying, don't go. You might have this person here who don't treat you right, but as soon as they see you about ready to jump, all of a sudden they like, oh shit, I'm gonna be by myself. No, don't leave. Excuse my language. No, don't go. I need you here, whether it's the woman or the husband. Don't go. I need you. But then as soon as I turn right back around, the things that said they need me will then say, I didn't really need you. You ain't going nowhere. So what ends up happening is those things lose respect for you because they know all it takes is this, that, and the other. Where you gonna go? So then you get in your mind. You say, you know what? I don't care anymore. I'm going over this cliff because it's got to be better than what this is. And then they make you feel like you ain't nothing. Look at you. How you going to leave us? How you going to leave your job? What you going to do? How you going to leave your job? You going to start a business? You going to do what? What? In this economy? You'll fail. You're going to fail. What are you going to do without me, baby? Don't nobody else want you. Look at you. You over there. You done been married to me. Ain't no other woman going to want you. You done got fat. Look at you. You losing your hair. Look at you. You ain't even handsome no more. Look at you, baby. You got all these babies. You ain't ain't no man gonna want no woman with all these babies. Ain't no man gonna want no woman that's like this. Look at you. Who won't want you? And then eventually you be like, you know what? You're right. I may be black and I may be ugly, but I'm here. Here, and then you jump and you fall. And you might hit a rock or two, but then you find out that the water that was hitting them rocks was cushion. You hit the water. And instead of a feeling of fear, you got a feeling of true freedom. True freedom. You in the water and you like, what am I going to do? what am I going to do? And you hear a voice say, believe in me. I needed you to jump. You know why I needed you to jump? Because you lost faith in me and you put faith in things that didn't love you anymore. But I never stopped loving you, even when you gave yourself to them and not to me. But I'm here now. Now you hear me now, huh? Now you hear me in this water. Now you swimming. Yeah, keep swimming. I got you. I got you. All you got to do is keep swimming towards the voice. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Escape. You now can escape. Keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. And now you hear me. Because there's no other distractions. Just the rushing of the water. But even that's not even a distraction because my voice is over this. Now you can hear me. So son, daughter, why are you swimming? You hear me. I need you to, this is what you're going to do. Let go. Let go. You know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to put a boat in the middle of this water. I'm going to let you decide where you want to go, but just take me with you this time. People on the cliff, well, look at you. You don't know what you're doing. Look at you. You ain't going to make it without me. You ain't going to make it without this job. Look at you. You're failing. You're a failure. You're never going to make it. Then eventually you start being like, I don't hear no voices no more. And I haven't swam that far. The Almighty be like, you did swim far. You swam farther than you thought you could swim. See, now you're getting yourself back. See, the voices that you heard on that cliff, you've been swimming for miles. And the reason that you didn't believe you could do this was because you lost you. But when you hit that water, that rebooted your spirit, and now you hear me.
Yeah.
Now you hear me. So, where we going?
Where we going?
Where we going? Because you take me with you, you won't fail. You take me with you, you'll be all right. You'll be all right. They'll be all right too. You know why? Because sometimes we need to let things and people feel what it was like to not have me, not have you. I need them to feel that. I need them to see how it is. But I also need you to see how valuable you are. And I'm going to show you how valuable you are by allowing you to choose the direction that you take. Just take me with you. Matter of fact, you ain't got to take me with you. I'm there. You know, I last week I made a statement. I made a comment. It's something I was sharing. What was deep is that how is it? Have you ever wore like a perfume or known some people that wear perfume or oils or something that smells really good? And when they leave the room, people go, oh, that was Sister Dawn in here. Oh, man, she always wearing that perfume, that oil. Oh, that smells really, really nice. I love it when she comes in here. How many people can say when you leave a room, Most High was in here? How you know? The sister was in here. Feel different. See, that's what you want to leave in the room. The Almighty exuding so much off of you that you just leave essence of Him around. People treat you different when the Almighty is left in the room. People think that it's suits and ties and money that get you respect. Nah. See how people treat people who truly fear the Most High, who don't walk around condemning. They just walk around You'll find people that normally wouldn't even talk to you, talking to you. Yeah, I wish I had a this, that, and the other, and they just talking to you. People that don't normally talk to you. People you wouldn't even think would talk to you, talking to you. You at your job, and your boss come over to you and be like, "You're doing a great job here." Yeah, my wife left me, and she left me with the cats. Ain't that something? And you standing there like, just, oh, boss, that's so sad. Yeah. Yeah, but it's okay. I'm be okay. Then they come in, there's something about you. Then this people start drawing to you. It ain't you. It's the spirit that the Almighty is allowing to be. And then there's some people that meant you harm that don't even fool with you. You might be thinking like, why they don't speak to me? Because they don't mean you no good. So I'm protecting you from them. They see they can't get to you. So yeah, when you walk in the room, they can't do nothing but lower their head or separate. They can't even, they try to talk against you. But they talk so low that only they can hear it. And they wondering like, damn, I'm being super loud. Why she ain't hearing it? Why he ain't hearing it? Because the Almighty done turned the volume down, baby. The Almighty done turned that down, so now only the fool can hear the foolishness. And of course, other fools that's with them. But they can't touch you. Everything they tried. King, did you make a decree that if any man prayed to their God and not to you, that they would be thrown in the den of lions? Let me tell you something. We found an occasion where your man, Daniel. Of course, they ain't call him Daniel, call him by the name of his God. I said, your man Daniel. We caught him praying. Opened the window wide. Threw his hands in the air. Then, that's why I stopped, because you was going somewhere. But then, it went against your decree, King. You sealed it with your ring. It's law. What you gonna do about that? King like, get him. That's the law. Daniel didn't fight. Daniel didn't argue back. Daniel was thrown in the lion's den. It was dark. Lions are circling around him. But the Almighty shut their mouth so they couldn't do nothing. He shut their mouth so they couldn't even roar. The only thing they could do was humble themselves before who? The one who exuded the spirit of YAH. They humbled themselves and they sat next to Daniel, and they sat there, kept him company. Daniel sitting there talking about, man, I didn't know y'all fur was so soft. I ain't really like getting up on y'all like that. Oh, come here. They laying on him. Come here. He just, yeah, that's right. You know what? Praise y'all. You understand what I'm saying? The next morning, King Darius goes, let me go down here. Daniel! He like, yo! What's good, King? My YAH kept me. Yo, Elohim kept you. Get my man up out of there.
Because he was so good.
Let me tell the story. My man, get him out of there. Get him up out of there now. And what are the fools that threw him in there? Now throw him in there. So the door probably couldn't even close good enough before them lions like, rah, they jaws open and devoured them. We can't think, we can't stop about, we can't we cannot leave out the Hebrew brothers who walked with Yah through in the flames. King Neb came and said, I can't believe this. I thought we threw 3 men in there. There's 4 men. One of them looked like the son of Elohim. Brought him out that fire. Didn't smell like smoke. Nothing on them singed. What happened to the 4th man? Huh? Where was the 4th man at? What did he do? He probably ascended into the fire because he was a malak. He was with the men that stood with him. So the people that meant you harm, when you turned and you said, I'm going to stay with you, Yah, you put me in the water. What did Yah have to do to Jonah to get him to listen? Here, sit in the belly of this well for a minute. Sit in the belly of this well. Yah heard his prayer through the belly of a well. He said, okay, now I'm going to have the well vomit you out. And now you go do what I asked you to do, Jonah, okay? We ain't going to have this problem again, are we? No, sir, because you don't want these hands. No, I don't. I don't want no smoke. And I definitely don't want to catch no fade from you, Yah. I'm going to Nineveh. All because these men chose to jump off that cliff. And now had they stood behind and been like, well, the king, he did befriend me. He did give me a position. He did say no praying to no other God. So I'll just listen to him. You think Daniel would have been as great as he was? You think them 3 Hebrew brothers who would have bowed as the music was playing to that humongous monstrosity, do you think that they would have been as great as they were? What caused them kings to say now your God is going to be our God, and anyone who don't pray to his God is going to be put to death? Now you got these kings because of your righteousness and how you stood with Yah. Because you chose to jump off the cliff. Now you swimming in the water. Now you hear him. Now he's talking to you. Now you incorporating him. Now he didn't. Now here's the thing. Yah is very righteous. And he's giving you the opportunity. Now you choose your direction. Where you want to go today. But wherever you go, you better take me with you. Because you're going to need me. You're going to need me. Now let me explain something to you. When you get out of this water, as you're swimming in the water, tide gonna be smooth. And then there's gonna be times I'm gonna bring a storm. And then there's gonna be times that you're gonna fall deep into the water. But then there's gonna be times that you're gonna jump up like a dolphin and you're gonna find yourself swimming. But one thing that you won't do is this. Turn back to the Isaiah chapter 40 real quick. Isaiah 40 and 31 says what? But they that wait upon Yah shall renew their strength. Oh yeah, you're going to be weak. Yep. You're going to fall. But your strength is going to be renewed in you. See, I already gave you strength. See, what happened was, it's not that you didn't have strength. It's that you gave your strength to someone else, to something else. So because now you in this water, you feel weak. You feel like you're about to drown. But I got you. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to allow that strength that I already gave you to renew itself within you. Now look at you. Look at you. Still swimming. Your arms tired yet? Yeah, it's a little fatigue. That's okay. Because like anything that you do and you stop doing, when you start doing it again, it's not going to be comfortable. But it's going to make you stronger. He says, but they that wait upon Yah shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as an eagle. The eagle. Now, brother, how you going to equate the eagle to the person jumping off the cliff and swimming out far and not even paying attention? Because the eagle is the only bird that can defy heights of flight. The only one. that can defy the height of flight, the height of flights. Almost touch the heavens. When it talks about in the book of Psalms about being renewed, the youth as the youth being renewed like the eagles. Every so often, an eagle sheds its wings, its feathers, its beak, and it grows and it grows new feathers, stronger feathers, and it flies higher and higher. An eagle can see prey miles away in the sky. They can see it. It says, they shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. There are going to be times that when you get out this water, you're going to have to run. But guess what? You're going to have the endurance. There are going to be times that you're going to have to walk a little bit, and you won't be faint. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel depressed. You're going to feel defeated. But guess what? Trust in me, and we'll knock all that out. We'll be all right. See, even the most beautiful of brass has to go through fire. Praise Yah. All right. Are there any comments or questions? Well, let's go to one more scripture. No, I didn't get to Genesis chapter 5, but that's okay because we covered something else. But let's go to Proverbs chapter 17. Well, let me finish up this forgiveness. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 17. Proverbs 17 and verse 9. It reads, he that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separateth very friends. Repeateth a matter. Now let's equate that to going back to the same thing that brought you to the state of depression and anger. When you walk away, we have to walk away. In my first marriage, I was afraid to walk away. I was afraid of being on my own. Even in my first and second marriage, I was afraid of being on my own. I didn't think I could make it because I had beat myself up for so long. So what ends up happening is, it's not that the woman is abusive, it's that I became abusive to myself. And I allowed my insecurities to wing into my relationship, which eventually caused the downfall of my relationship. Now, it's not expected for a woman to hold on and to help you become stronger as a man. It wasn't hers to do, but I attribute a thanks to my wife because she didn't give up on me. She didn't give up. And we kept going. That's because I was willing to work. Unfortunately, it's hard to keep going when the person that you want to keep going with is stuck in their ways. Hard to move forward. Let's go back to Psalms. Let's go to Psalms 31. In the book of Psalms, chapter 31. You know what's funny is I teach like this, but I don't take my own advice sometimes. Ain't that something crazy? That's almost asinine, ain't it? That's deep. Psalms 31, verse 1, it reads, in thee, O YAH, do I put my trust. Let me never be ashamed. Deliver me thy righteousness. I don't know why I put that one. I'll be honest. That's because that's not Psalms 32. Let's go to Psalms 32. I read Psalms 31, but what led me to that? In thee, O Yah, do I put my trust. That's checking me. How you gonna talk about trusting, but you ain't doing it yourself, son? Don't be a hypocrite. Don't be a hypocrite, brother. Yes, sir. I take that message clear, y'all. Psalms 32. You saw it live and direct. Y'all corrected me in wisdom. I appreciate y'all. But Psalms 32 and 1 says, blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered. This ain't talking about necessarily you doing it for someone else. This can also apply to you doing it to yourself. Forgive your sins. Forgive yourself for what you did, for what you've done. And then move forward to become better. Not a better sinner, but a better servant. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 10. Oh no, let's go to Psalms. Since we're in Psalms, let's look at Psalms 103. Psalms 103. And then let's look at verse 12. Psalms 103 is in 12. Wow, this is good. It says, as far as the east is from the west, so far hath he removed our transgressions from us. So if Yah has removed our transgressions from us, why are we still trying to hold on to him? Have you ever had somebody talking to you and their breath stank? I ain't talking about, you be like, ooh. I'm talking about, God, did you eat? Oh my gosh, what died in your throat? That kind of breath stank. And they in your face, talking to you like, using H words like, hey, how hard? Like, hard, how are you doesn't have an H, but somehow they put it there. Ew. And you just standing there, you tearing up. They like, you happy to see me? And you like, You need to be slapped with a mint steak. And you just be, and you talk, think of transgressions times 10 with that. Would you want to hold on to that? Could you imagine that breath just kissing you on your lips and it's still there? That's disgusting. And it stinks and it's nasty, it's gross. And the thing that's, you got to look at trans. I got to let you go. You being funny. Like, no, I'm not being funny. You don't see these tears coming up in my eyes? Boy, your throat dead. You understand? So you got to let that go there. That's when you let that go. You got to do transgression that way. Y'all say, I let it go, so you let it go. Don't you bring up nobody else's transgressions and don't bring up your own. You did wrong. Fix it. Let's move forward. Brother Michael. Okay, you done told your whole story about your life and everything. So now let's move. You've moved forward from that. Why do you want to lay back in that bed of thorns? When I've created you a cradle made of angel wings. But you want to think back on when you was in the thorns. Now let's go to Proverbs 10. In the book of Proverbs chapter 10, the 12th verse said, hatred stirreth up strifes, but love covereth all sins. This is not just talking about other people. This is talking about yourself. Love yourself. Know like, yo, I messed up in my life. But let me do better. Now, as the saying has been, you got more time behind you than you do in front of you. Well, let me enhance the time in front of me, because only y'all knows the day and time. Excuse me. Now let's go to the book of Daniel. Excuse me. Excuse me. I think I am gonna have to. Daniel, excuse me, chapter 9. Man, Daniel 9 and 9. All right, Daniel 9 and verse 9 reads. Wait till everyone gets there. Daniel 9 and chapter 9. Chapter 9 and verse 9 reads. To YAH Elohim belongeth mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him. If YAH forgives, why can't we? To ourselves. Let's go to one more place. Let's turn to the book of Isaiah. Excuse me. Isaiah chapter 44. In the book of Isaiah chapter 44, I'm going to start at verse 21. Isaiah 44 and 21, it reads, Remember these, O Jacob, and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee, thou art my servant, O Israel. Thou shalt not be forgotten of me. YAH has not forgotten us. Though sometimes we go through things that may seem as though he's forgotten us, but he hasn't. Verse 22 reads, I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me. I redeemed you. I redeemed thee. In order for me to return back to YAH, got to let go of the transgressions that I have committed. Forgive myself. And change. I mean, dang. Even when you make a garment, eventually you have to disconnect the garment from the material from which it came from, right? In order for it to be functional. Right? How crazy would it look to put on a sweater and you still got a roll of yarn attached to it? It's not doing anything no more. You don't need it anymore. It's just rolling around after you. You got this long string. Eventually, you have to cut ties in order to move forward sometimes. Right? Sometimes. Because once you cut ties from that material from which it was made, you still got the material on you. Right? So, with that being said, are there any comments or questions? We went over forgiveness. Mastering forgiveness starts with thyself. In order to truly master forgiveness, you have to master it with yourself. some of the best people who do things like makeup artists, fashion designers, they didn't always start out by doing it or making up other people. Sometimes they did it on themselves. They did it on themselves, and then when they did it to themselves, just like barbers. Some barbers cut their own hair before they went and became master barbers, right? So what makes you think that forgiveness is any different? You got to start with yourself in order for you to move forward. You have to see past your insecurities, Brother Michael. You have to see past your wallowing in sins. You did it, son. You did it. Right there. But how do you know I haven't forgiven them for it? I haven't forgiven you for them sins. I may have forgiven them for you. I may have forgiven you of those sins. But you still want to hold on to them. Right? Why? Let them go. Because they're holding you back from being with me. Because the more that you... Now, I understand the comments of we should be more in the house of mourning. I understand that. I get it. I understand we should be in the house of mourning. But what's wrong with being in the house of myrrh when you're celebrating the gifts that YAH's giving you? When you really stop and think about what YAH has done for you, isn't it kind of hard to be sad? You can't help but smile and laugh and enjoy living.
You know, the other day I was in a grocery store, skipping down the aisle.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Freedom is beautiful, isn't it? And you know who gives us that freedom is YAH, man. When you can be like, man, I got YAH, man. I ain't worried about what you think about me.
Exactly.
You know, but
that aisle was full of people. And I was just like, well, whatever. I feel like skipping.
Yeah, you
I
skip
can
it.
talk to you.
Yeah, we'd have been like, hey, how you doing? But you know what though? That's just something that, you know, we have to grow to. Because most of us care too much about what other people think about us and not what YAH. We care too much about that. And that's what's destroying our relationships with business, the jobs, people, friends, marriages, because we care too much about what people think. People who don't have no ins and outs in our home, but because then it makes us fake. It makes us people of fake origin, fake mindset. Like, for example, in front of you, I'm, you know, you the salt of the earth. But then when we get home, treat you like you a swamp. You know, in class, the wife is like, oh, my husband is so wise. Oh, he's so wonderful and wise. Then you smiling like, oh, thank you, babe. And you get home and she be like, you was the stupidest fool I've ever been with in my life. Oh, where did this come from? Look at you. Who the hell eats cereal at 9 o'clock at night? Well, I want some cereal, baby. Look at you. You daggone fool.
Cocoa Krispies are delicious. Yeah.
Since I got my wife, cereal is good. I still don't want it for dinner, but it's good. But that's neither here nor there. But then you have a wife. And in front of others, she's the cat's meow. And you get home The wife is treated like the poop that comes out the bull's butt. Let's stop putting on shows. We truly gonna live our life, live it starting today. Start today. Live our lives for YAH. I know that might sound cliche, but do it. It's so peaceful. You know what bothered me? I went to a football game. Took the car and my daughter to a football game at the school. It's a high school. It was homecoming, senior night. And a couple of my students, they come up to me and they say they love me, and they're very comfortable with me. And there's these group of girls, and they came up to me and they was talking to me. What you got them on for, Miss Israel? What you got them on for? Look at you. One little girl I didn't even know. She said, yeah, you look tacky. And I just stood there and I looked at her and I said, okay. Now, the old Mike would have probably had parents calling me. Like, you don't call my daughter no monkey face, but, you know. But I didn't. I grabbed the car. I didn't grab it. I said, well, okay, y'all, it's time to go. So I left, but I let that bother me. Like, oh, they talking about why? And the thing that's so deep is that we let things that people say to us bother us. To the point where it destroys us. Why? Let it go. If you feel like I look tacky, here's my shoe size. Here's my pants size. Here's my shirt size. And this is where I like you to go. Go to Kenwood and you go to Kenwood Mall, because I love Kenwood Mall. You go to Kenwood Mall and you go and everything, but the only thing I say is everything has to be 100%. You go and you buy me something. Now, I don't have, sometimes my pants are sag in the back, but that's just because I don't have, there's some things that I'm just not endowed. Okay? I don't have a backside. I do, but it's, whew. Anyway, young man says to me, he says, Miss Israel, pull your pants up. And I looked at him and I said, you pull them up. It's bothering you more than it is me. He went, oh. I said, yeah. Now, of course, he was right. I had to pull him up, but I ain't doing it for no style. I'm doing it because I have a deficiency. So, you understand? So, when you let things people say to you get to you, inadvertently, they're your Elohim. Because they have more influence on you than your Elohim. And that's not good. That's not good. So, all right. So, praise y'all. With that being said, I've said that twice. You got a comment?
There's some kind.
Okay, would you read them, please?
Sure.
Thank you, lovely.
Elder Yoli says, we don't have the men because many of our men are in love with other men. YAH cannot even have righteous seed because our people are not righteous.
That's right, Elder Yoli. Men are in love with other men and themselves.
So Nadib sent a whole bunch of laughing emojis, and Elder Yoli said, okay, Seeley.
Oh.
And Elder Yoli also said, Isaiah 44:21, I have formed thee to be my servant, and do thou, Israel, not forget me. In the Septuagint, and I did send some smiley faces again.
Praise the mighty YAH. So, before we head out, because it is evening, I just want to do, normally I take the pulse of the room and after class and sometimes I know. And sometimes I did it today. I'm gonna start doing it too in the beginning before class ends. What did anyone get out of today's lessons today? From my wife's lesson to right now. What did we get out of? And if you want to talk about earlier, that's fine too. But what did we get out of today? What are we going to walk away with today? What are we going to reflect on that's going to help us have a better week?
I got transparency. Your transparency has shown me your growth. What I got. I think it's a wonderful thing when we're willing to get out of our way.
Every time I do something, my wife becomes more and more attracted to me.
Right.
I really. Anything? Are there any other comments? What all did you guys get out of it? Those that may still be on. What did y'all get out? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so based on what you just got finished saying, I feel more encouraged to continue with where I'm going.
Praise y'all.
And from lovely Sydney's, and I feel also more encouraged to continue in my giving.
Praise y'all. So, Sister Nadi, we're gonna talk about that, what we can do to get that set up and going. Kari, what did you get out of it? The parts that you were awake for. Okay, so Elder Yoli Elder Yoli says, this has been the best Sabbath ever, loving on Yah. Praise Yah. There was nothing more important than praising him for all he has done for us. Praise the mighty Yah. I am so glad. And you know what? I don't know how anybody else feels, but I think the Sabbath should be, the Sabbath should be about how great Yah is. It don't necessarily have to be talking about certain doctrine. We are going to go back into the Torah, though. We're going to read the Torah, and we're going to pick up at chapter 5 and 6, because we got to take those. Chapter 6 is going to be really interesting to me. I think it's going to be awesome. So we'll be in, y'all willing, Genesis 6, 5 and 6, y'all willing, next week. We're going to jump into that. And then we're going to jump into chapters 2 and 3 of Esther, so we can, we might even finish up the chapters, because their chapters are not really that long. So we might even finish up Esther, so we can talk about Purim and talk about how we might want to celebrate Purim. So, yeah. So, yes, sweetheart.
I know what I got out of today.
Yeah, sleep.
Dang.
I'm sorry.
Oh, hater.
She took rest day to a whole nother level. Go ahead. You had your righteous nap. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead. I'm teasing my wife. I'm teasing my daughter. I love my daughter. Yeah. She woke up feeling holy. Go ahead, baby.
What I got out of today was to enjoy life and see where it takes you in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Praise God. See where it takes you. That was you. You saw that.
No. We're done teasing her. What'd you get out of class, Moray?
What I got out of today's lessons was the fact of giving. When my wife taught on about giving and how this brother, this eunuch, stood alone, went up against the powers that be, didn't go up to him disrespectfully, but knew his position and asked and said, hey, this is a man of Elohim. He came in the name of the Most High. So we got to get him out of this. And it also showed that sometimes it takes just that one individual to bring that wisdom out of somebody who you consider greater than you. And the king said, you know what, you're right. Go get my man. Go get him up out of there. And then it also showed how surprised you would be to know that there are actually more people that's for you in righteousness than there is against you.
Right.
It's just that sometimes it takes somebody to bring that out. Sometimes you have to be that spark. You have to be that spark to bring out that proverbial flame. And then that flame becomes a full-blown fire. And he got 30 men to do what they needed to do to get Jeremiah up out of that pit. So praise y'all for that. I got that. And then the second thing that I got was dealing with forgiveness. You have to forgive yourself. Start forgiving yourself by watching how you eat. Stop abusing yourself with junk and poison. Watch who you keep in your company. Choose your friends wisely. I'm in a state now where I would rather have one good friend than 10 raggedy ones. What I've also learned today is you have to, if you give advice, live advice. Live the advice that you're giving, because then it's more sincere. It's taken more serious when you live what you give. And it's not that I don't live it. It's just that sometimes I let things cause me, because things that happen to us in our life, like there are certain things you can control, and then there are things you can't control. But the things we get taken over and destroyed and we get taken over by the things that we can control, more so than the things that we can't. All right. Like, you may not be able to control your destination, but you do have some control over how you get there. You understand? So things you can control, you change if you see them not getting you to where you need to be. So that's what I got from it. So y'all want to start it now. That's what I'm gonna do. And when my wife did the lasagna thing, I understand she always stay on me for portion control. Some days I eat one meal a day, but sometimes that one meal is big. So I understand what she's saying. She's looking out for me. I want to say praise y'all and thank you. So are there any other comments out there? Did you hear anything else?
Leave the baby alone.
That was you snoring. Sounded like trumpets.
No.
No, I'm messing with you. See the reaction I got? Nah, you won't snore, but I'm messing with you. But you woke up renewed.
Oh my God.
You got a renewed spirit.
Oh.
All right. Elder Yoli says, love you guys. Have a great week. Praise the mighty Yah. We love you too. Praise Yah. So we are going to go ahead and pray out. Because I think we're past the evening now. I think we're in the nighttime now. I know here in Cincinnati, it gets dark around 5:30, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock, a little like 9 o'clock. So let's go ahead and pray out. The Sabbath is over. Sabbath's been over. Because I know people get on here, man, the Sabbath been over, bro. So I'm letting you know, we just, So Takari, with your renewed energy, do you mind praying us out, my love? Because you got fresh eyes.
Thank you, Yah, for this beautiful day that you have bestowed upon us, Yah. Thank you, Yah, for letting my father and other teachers teach on this beautiful day that you have given us. Thank you, Yah, for waking us up to see another beautiful day to obey and recognize your name, Yah. Thank you, Yah, for everything that you do for us.
Praise Yah. Numbers chapter 6, starting in verse 22, it reads, And Yah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Aaron and unto his sons, saying on this wise, Ye shall bless the children of Israel, saying unto them, Yah bless thee and keep thee. Yah make your face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. Yah lift up your countenance upon thee and give thee peace. And they shall put my name upon the children of Israel, I will bless them. May the name of Yah be upon us. Without you, Yah, we're nothing. Thank you for a beautiful Shabbat day. Thank you for the knowledge and the wisdom and the praise that you allowed to be brought forth. Thank you, Yah, and bless you. And I pray these words are accepted by you, Yah. And Yah, all glory and praise belongs to you. But without you, you have nothing. Hallelujah. 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 Praise the mighty Yah. Yah is righteous. Yah is holy. And Yah is to be magnified. Amen. All right. So we want to thank everyone. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And thank y'all for enduring. It was an awesome conversation we had. A great Sabbath of praise. And Yah willing, we'll be here next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yah willing, we'll be here next week. But the week of their so-called Thanksgiving, there's going to be a conference on that SAT day.
Yeah.
Next, so not
November
this.
30th.
November 30th is going to be there's going to be a conference. And also too, once again, we thank y'all for all of your contributions that you give. Praise Yah. We appreciate everything that you guys do to help us to be able to broadcast and have a place to broadcast. But we don't accept tithes, but we do accept offerings. I'm going to give you the Cash App. The Cash App is $Nessa. Is $NESYAH73. That's $NESYAH73. And you can send your offerings there because they are truly, truly, truly appreciated, and we thank you guys. So until Yah willing next week, may Yah bless us and keep us. Bless Yah, praise Yah, and allow him to be our continuous guide. Love y'all, man.